Looking for a clear way to watch and manage your critical environment facility? Introducing Vision by Phoenix Controls. Vision is a real-time critical systems analysis tool that allows you to customize reporting, scheduling, and alarm management. This comprehensive tool supplements your facility's existing building automation system and provides full web-based operation. With Vision by Phoenix Controls, you will enjoy features such as a full suite of powerful and customizable real-time reporting tools, critical analytics at every level to help evaluate and maintain proper building operation for facilities, safety, and energy management. Easy to read and navigate UI, providing detailed data on air change rates in real or historic timeframes. The ability to customize the visuals to represent specific campus, building, floor, and room specifications. A drag-and-drop architecture builder, plus many pre-built mechanical templates, makes for easy setup and updates as your facility needs grow. Custom reporting to help provide certification management, trend analysis, and energy efficiency tracking information, and more. Review, report, and make equipment decisions with airflow building diversity visibility. Information feeding into Vision is not limited to Phoenix Controls equipment. For your critical room control system needs, Phoenix Controls is simply the best in the business. You may already know the quality and reliability of our Venturi valve system. Well, now the innovative Vision analysis tool is just one more reason to look to Phoenix Controls. Connect with your Phoenix Controls representative for a demonstration and see how you can improve visibility into your critical environment facility with Vision by Phoenix Controls.
Okay, this is a general demo of a presentation of the Phoenix Vision Analytics software package. It's a web-based offering to provide unique ways of viewing and or analyzing the critical spaces that Phoenix is a leader in within the industry. It is all web-based, so the ability to get into the system and view it comes from really any browser, either from PC, phone, tablet. It really doesn't matter. The system can identify and determine its ability and switch to various modes depending on what you're connecting with. So in this case, I've opened up Google Chrome, type in a password, and the password levels give you multiple types of view or edit capabilities like most systems would offer. So as we open up, in this particular example, it lands on what you might consider a typical campus where you have multiple buildings. And this can be used to reference and to send you to multiple types of buildings, as we'll show here. Today, we'll focus on the laboratory environment. And in addition to this capability, you can also, if you had satellite campuses, you could actually even present something from this fashion. You know, as we're in the Internet of Everything world, most campuses and buildings are interconnected through VPN access, and really once that is built as far as an infrastructure, Vision implements and loads very well on those types of installations. So from here, we'd be able to jump into a particular campus map. This is just another example of that. And then essentially you would go into a building, and in this case, we'll dive further into the lab floor. So this is unique in a lot of ways. And again, as we said, this was meant to be kind of as an additional supplement to your building automation system. It has many of the same features and capabilities with additional features uniquely designed for the critical spaces. As you notice, this is a graphical representation of a lab floor. And right now it resides in temperature, which is maybe something that you've seen within typical building automation systems. But some of the unique aspects of that are where it has multiple types of gradients in addition to just temperature that you would need the types of spaces that Phoenix is known for. So using the same floor plan, and the floor plan can be a 3D isometric as shown. It could be mechanical with duct working, two-dimensional. It really just depends on whatever a customer may want in his or her facility. In this case, I switched it to pressure or offset to give you a range of in very simple indication of higher or lower pressures. The gradients that we set up typically are designed in such a way that if the information or the variable that's being viewed is within its tolerance or within its settings between a high and a low setting, that you wouldn't necessarily see any particular color. So it makes it a very easy diagnostic tool that can either be done remotely or in some cases even installed on touch screens within the space itself. So this being pressure, another one that we typically do as a tip for our typical installations is air change rates, where you have a gradient between 4 to 12, and then if it's 4, it'll be darker, more toward a brown color, and in this case, cyan. All the colors that you see are adjustable. All the ranges are adjustable. And again, the idea is that it allows for a very quick and easy diagnostic of your system, especially in these critical spaces, and to determine how they're operating. Another unique feature is the ability to create a DVR functionality. In this case, right now we're in the real-time position. If I switch it to playback, then essentially all of the historical information becomes what you might see with the DVR control. And I can increase or decrease the time span to find a particular area or looking for high or low air change rates, depending on if the person viewing it is interested in the safety aspect, or if they're more concerned with the savings in regards to higher or low readings within a particular space. And as we all know, most systems can do historical information. The difficulty always becomes in how do I manage it? And that's where every one of these floor plans would have also the ability to independently select the type of the range date that you might be interested in, where you could look at the last year, month. But if you had 2 years, 3 years, 4 years worth of information that you were storing, you wouldn't have to worry about how to go through and parse it. You just select the areas that you were most concerned of. Maybe there was an event that happened later in the week, or earlier in the week. Then that would be the area that you would view, and then you could use the DVR to cycle through it, looking for a particular hotspot just based upon temperature colors. And there's additional gradients that can be added. These are just some of the ones that you primarily might see within a lab space. Any of these mouse over functionalities gives you the current value, and if you switch to a different, in this case, I'm back to temperature, it'll show you that temperature is at 60. Here we have some warm ones, and in that case, it's 93. So it gives you an idea of how the information can be viewed. Now, in addition to what we typically would do with Phoenix, we obviously know that in order for the systems that are working in these critical spaces, it's important for us to also have information on the air handling unit and or the exhaust fan systems that are serving the space. So this additionally allows us to bring in information either hardwired and or integrated, so that we could actually look at the critical variables that are key for good control down in these spaces. Again, this is specific to analyzing how these spaces are operating and then giving you quick, easy hyperlink adjustments or hyperlink moves to go and look at the types of information that are critical. In this case, we have an additional history where you can view and see to make sure that the discharge air temperatures are maintaining whatever set point they're set for. In this case, the yellow is 55, and we can see that it's not a great control, and we may not be doing the control, but we're just trying to verify that that's not becoming an issue and creating issues further down into the lab space, and as well as static pressure, so that we have a stable means of control. And you'll see these graphs and charts all throughout this presentation. All charts that we have an easy button that allows you to export into a CSV file, so that information can be easily sent to others that you may have to get involved to look additionally at troubleshooting and fixing potential problems. All of the screens that you have, you can zoom. I'm trying to get it to that. You can zoom left to right to zoom in. You can do flyovers to look at specific pieces of information, and easily double click back to get to the main screen. Again, this was an example of what you might look at an air handling unit, going back to the floor plan. And then you have multiple examples of what you might do with a particular air exhaust fan system. And additionally, if enabled, you could even create the ability to manage those systems by turning them on and off, and seeing damper positions and all the things that you might see on a normal system. But again, the key is that it's all in one spot. It's kind of, when we're trying to look at these critical spaces to diagnose them, we want to know, are they operating and they operating correctly? Now, let's say that now you've done kind of an analysis and you see a problem you want to go investigate. All of these particular spaces, you can dive into a template, which gives you a lot of information associated with the Phoenix system. And we'll just run through these briefly, but in most cases, as far as the real estate within these templates, the top portion is what is showing you the information related to temperatures, with charts and histories associated with the variables that would allow you to diagnose what's happening there. Then we have the pressure relationships of the points associated with maintaining pressure, charts as well as the points next to them, air change rates, associated points. And in this case, because we're looking at a lab where you might have fume hoods diversity, if you're not familiar with that term, contact your local Phoenix representative, because there's a lot of benefit in understanding how your building's operating from a diversity perspective. And then you get into the individual valve associated with these spaces. Now, these are unique in regards to that when these templates are built, they can self-sustain. So as you add and remove valves, these templates automatically link with the associated points for those particular devices as you install them. Here's an example where we have a fume hood with, a lab space with 4 fume hoods, and you can easily toggle between the tiles to look at what their various parameters are showing. You can see that there's a sash that in each of those, and as that sash changes, we can show the actual movement of the sash. And as you look at the different hoods, you can see that the percentage as the sash opening is increasing or decreasing. The graphic is showing you that as well. All of these have the ability to show alarms, as you can see by the red bars. Anything that's an override is the magenta or the purple. It's very simple to make an adjustment by just clicking on the particular point, going to set or emergency override. The value of doing an emergency override is that it at least gives you an indication. There's even some additional reporting where you can go out and look at all of your particular points and see what you have in override, because that's obviously what happens that you have to do for emergency cases, but you don't want to leave it that way. You want to get it repaired and fixed. Another advantage of what you see here within the lab is this air change rate driver. And this is really key, because in a lot of your lab spaces, you have the ability to know what your air change rate is running at, but you rarely are you given any kind of information that tells you, well, why am I running either high or low? What's the driving factor? And in I guess comparison to room temperature, if you have a high or low room temperature, you're typically going to get a call. If you're running at a 20 air change rate when you should be running at 6, no one's typically going to give you a call, because there's not typically a direct personal effect that would cause somebody to call and say, I've got a problem. So you consequently could have labs running in very, very high air change rates, which is could be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that you would never even know about. So the idea, again, going back to things that are specifically tools for you to analyze how your building's operating, and then once you find that, very easy, like in this case, the hood being the green bar is showing you that's what's driving the air change rate, which right now is shown to be at 12 air changes. And so it gives you an indication that, well, the problem is that out of these 4 hoods, they're leaving their sash open. So not only did you easily be able to diagnose what was happening in your air change rate, then you could easily look over and almost immediately determine a cause and effect for that particular space. Again, analysis of this system, you can zoom in just like I was showing you on other systems other of the graphs you just dragged. You can zoom in. All of these can export out to particular CSV files for your use. Within this system, we have an additional fume hood certification report. This goes out and analyzes for all of your fume hoods to determine if you have some that are an alarm, and if they are, then you can obviously make the associated notes. In here, you have in this point, you can create a note. You can actually change the time and the date for an alert, an alarm, and then this report can actually be printed out to give you an overall indication of all of your hoods in a particular building. You could even change this report to make it based upon your floors, and you can see that it gives you all the information in regards to the lab, the hood name, display name, which allows the end user to determine what the fume hood names actually are for the end users, when the dates are due, how long before there's an alert, and the actual day of the alarm. And then you can actually add in additional notes that you called the Phoenix rep to look at it, and so on. So again, again, this would be part of the Vision package that you could utilize as well. At this point, I'll worry about saving it. We have summary reports. This allows you to go out and look at all kinds of information on your system. I just want to go and look at all of my air change rates. You get a full report that shows you all the air change rates in your building. You have temperatures. You could do diversities. Now these are uniquely built, so I have examples in here, like a sash percent open. I want to see what all my sashes are, and then you can look and see what all the sash percent opens are within your building. But maybe you'd like to say, I don't really care if unless my air change rates are greater than 10. So then I've created a report with just an additional bit of criteria that's just show me the air change rates that are greater than 10, and you can see here that it can pull that information up. It's similar. You can print to a CSV file. So again, very useful information to look for particular points. There's an ability to create a public report, which is for global logins, and then just personal reports so that it's linked specifically to your particular password. We have typical schedule capabilities, just like you might in any other system, alarm capabilities, and so that you have the ability to notify, come and look at alarms. There's instructions that can be added in so that if you have a particular process for something that is a problem, that those can be added in so that you can actually give people not only the notification that something's in alarm, but you can create instructions where here's how you address it. I want you to call this particular doctor, shut the hood, purge the space, or just whatever instructions you might deem necessary. So that again is some additional capabilities outside of just a typical alarm. So I hope that you've seen that in this particular scenario, a lot of capabilities from a standpoint of how these spaces can be utilized. This is a building analytic that actually takes all of that information that we looked at on the lab by labs basis and then brings it as a total summary so that you get an overall view of your building from a standpoint of total supply, total exhaust, total sash management, min, max, and averages, temperatures, air change rates, and as we spoke earlier with diversities. So if this is interesting and you'd like some additional information, feel free to contact your local representative or phoenixcontrols.com. I think there's an email link that you can get on and ask the expert. Be looking for some additional videos on vivariums and healthcare applications that should be coming out soon.